Hello everyone. To be honest, bro, I won't even think I'd be down. I don't even think I'd be recording on OBS because I don't know. I've got my literally webcam plugged in to OBS. I don't normally, you know, record, stream or out on here, but I thought it'd be more easy to record YouTube videos on, for example. Excuse me for my throat. Today I'm going to be watching some horror short videos because you love the Life of Luxury videos and I wanted to get into more horror stuff. You can go check out on my YouTube, this is going to be on my Twitch. Should be in the description. And with that, I'm just going to get straight into the video. Right, let's me go on full screen so I can thingy. Catman.
Back in 2014, I experienced something I still can't explain. I was still living at home at the time as an only child. I didn't have many friends or any hobbies to speak of, so I spent most of my free time surfing the internet and looking for anything that could hold my attention. On the weekends, I would wait for my parents to leave the house. Then, like most teenagers, I would use the alone time to browse through more devious content. On the night that this
What the fuck is he doing? What's he doing, bro? What's this all about?
unexplainable thing happened,
Devious content? Is that like the disgusting stuff? Like pornography or something like that?
I was getting up
Or is devious like intense evil stuff?
to the same thing I always did. When I was finally home alone, I closed my door and drew my curtains, turned the lights off, and grabbed a box of tissues from the bathroom, in case I got
Right. This is what he means by devious. Dirty bastard.
a runny nose while I was watching what I was finally able to watch now that nobody was around. My parents said they would be gone all night, so I knew I could stay at it for as long as I wanted. Of course, that meant that there were quite a few soiled and crumpled up tissues tossed into the bin. But after a couple hours, I was pretty much drained and bored of just watching stuff by myself like I did every weekend, and I was starting to wish I had someone to talk to. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't have very many friends, and certainly nobody that I could call close. The handful of people I could think of to text never even read my messages. So rather than beg the people I sort of knew at the time to talk to me, I figured I'd have better luck with strangers. I had already known about Omegle for some time by then, mostly by watching YouTubers exploring all the different tags you can add to your search for new friends, but I'd never used it myself. I didn't have friends because of my social anxiety, and that bled over to video chatting too.
Bro, social anxiety. That means you don't want to go on video with them, will it? Because you'll just, bro. I mean, it's just an animation, all right. It's not real.
Which I
Or is it? Oh, it's true. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Well, I guess it is then.
wasn't super comfortable with in the beginning, especially since they were all strangers, but it was better than tossing tissues all night, and I figured there was no way I'd ever see any of the people I met more than once, let alone run into them in person, so I gave it a shot. Obviously, just like anyone else would see, my initial experience on Omegle was getting flooded by a bunch of creepy old men asking for my
Fuck me, look at size of moobs on him. Bloody hell. What are those teeth? Ooh.
ASL. I skipped over all those guys, and it really felt like I was trudging through an endless ocean of them. But even when I found somebody who looked decent, I would get skipped by them. It was only my first time on Omegle, but if it was
Poor guys getting rejected by women, even online.
supposed to be a place where you could talk to people, then that night was not a good night for it. All the freaks and weirdos seemed to be out, and I was starting to lose
Bro, oh, what's that guy now? He's from WWE. WWE, who is it? Big muscly guy. Braun Strowman. He looks like him.
hope that I would ever find anybody of interest. I thought about calling it quits, but then I felt like giving it just a few more tries. That's when I encountered the most unusual thing I'd seen all night. Whoever or whatever they were, someone or something, they were creepier than any run-of-the-mill offender on Omegle. I was immediately so petrified by the image in front of me that I couldn't even click away from it. I just kept staring at the screen, trying to figure out what in the world I was looking at. I couldn't tell if they were wearing some kind of mask or a bunch of weird makeup. They barely looked human, and if they were severely deranged. If I had to describe them, it looked like a
Right. I'm sorry before. Did he say it looked like a mask? Mate, the mask is only meant to be the head to the neck. That is his whole fucking body.
male figure with deathly pale skin, dark sunken-in eyes, and a strange scraggly haircut, like they were halfway dead and already starting to decompose. Then, out of the blue, the man started meowing, like he thought he was some sort of cat man.
Meowing? Meow.
It creeped me out, but I was still suspecting that I was getting pranked somehow, although I had no idea how any of this was supposed to be funny. Hello? What's up with you? Why don't you talk like a normal person? After I tried speaking to him, my computer screen started glitching out, and that's when the Catman jumped from his seat to his desk, landing.
Bro, he got hacked and then he turned into a fucking... Why did he turn into a spider?
Backwards on all fours like it was about to start spider walking in front of the camera like the possessed girl from The Exorcist. It happened so fast that I flinched and fell off my chair, but I continued to watch from the floor, completely awestruck. The Catman stared right into the camera, except his face was upside down now from the position he was in. He was still meowing too, which just added to the uneasy feeling that was building about this whole situation. I'd seen so many horror movies, and it felt like any one of them could come true at any moment. I half expected him to crawl out through the screen and reap my soul. What the hell do you want? Why are you doing that? Do you think this is funny, sicko? He didn't seem to care about what I said, and if he did, I think it was only upsetting him, because it was then that his head began to twitch as he slowly craned to the side until it was totally horizontal, all the while shrieking with one long meow, opening his mouth wider and wider to the point that it looked like he had inhumanly large set of jaws. What the hell is the matter with you? Stop meowing at me! I was horrified by whatever was about to happen next, but then the glitching in the screen got worse and uncontrollable, and eventually froze, locking up the whole computer and forcing it to crash. I breathed a deep sigh of relief that the computer shut itself off. I was still dumbstruck in the darkness and sitting on the floor, so I have no idea how long I would have let that go on before I came to my senses and skipped that psycho. I eventually picked myself up and left my computer alone for the night, deciding to get some sleep and see if I couldn't forget the whole thing, or at least put some mental distance between me and it. It was difficult to get to sleep after being so shaken up, but I did get there after calming down for a little while. The next morning, things almost seemed alright. I could still vividly remember the strangeness of the Catman, his annoying meowing and corpse-like appearance, but other than that, everything seemed normal. That was, until I stood in front of the mirror before stepping into the shower and noticed the deep cat scratches all over my body.
That's great, innit? So it's just leaving me on a cliffhanger area then, innit? True Instagram horror story 2. Does it tell me?
In my freshman year of college, I still lived with my mom. It was a small house in Fontana, California, near where I went to school. I didn't need to live in a dorm to get to know everybody in my classes. That's what things like Instagram were for, and I was upping my popularity by letting all the people I met at school follow me. I kept my profile up to date with posts and stories every day, taking selfies from pretty much everywhere I went, whether I was at the movies, at a fast food place, in class, or even at home. That's just what everyone was doing, and I didn't want to alienate myself, but that's when I would soon regret that decision. One evening, after a long day of classes, I got home and did my usual routine of studying and having dinner with my mom. I eventually got into bed, ready to pass out. That was when I heard my phone buzz on the nightstand, right as I was on the verge of falling asleep. I figured it was probably nothing, but I reached over and checked the notification, just in case it was a text from someone important. Unfortunately, it wasn't. It was just Instagram letting me know that I had another new follower. I was groggy and could barely read the username, but it was something like @JonathanW, and then a bunch of random numbers and characters. That, and the fact that they didn't have a profile picture, made it clear that this was not somebody who went to school with me. My curiosity led me to check out his page, and so I did. I could see that he was following hundreds of accounts but didn't have a single follower of his own. There wasn't even a bio or a link to anything. However, there were a few posts on his account. As I began scrolling, I noticed all the posts were of the same thing, a confusingly close-up shot of some kind of
Does it look like a bed frame or something?
cotton upholstery stapled onto wood planks, like he was some kind of construction worker. The only difference between any of them was that it looked like some of them were taken at night, while others were taken from the daytime. I figured the account was either just some bot or maybe some random weirdo, so I put down my phone and tried to go back to sleep. Not even a minute later, my phone buzzed again. This time when I checked, it was a DM from the same guy that read, "Hey baby." I immediately realized that it wasn't a bot, but an actual person.
He's a pedo. He's a nonce.
I decided to respond back with,
Who's this?
admittedly, replying to him wasn't
Why would you reply? Bro. It's 20 past 3, yeah? Oh, I've got a burp coming. Pardon me. But it's 20 past 3. Go to sleep, bro. Or at least put your phone on silent, turn your brightness down, and that's it. You can go to sleep. If not, put it under bed or something. It probably won't vibrate.
the best idea, but I wasn't thinking about the fact that he would be able to see when I read his messages after that. However, after a few minutes, he didn't respond with anything, so I put my phone down again and tried to get some sleep. I was just starting to doze off when I heard my phone. Yet again, this time.
Why is it at the same time? He messaged her at 3:22 a.m. and now it's 4:22 a.m. Is he messaging every hour or something?
I ignored it. It annoyed me to think I was about to lose much needed sleep just to interact with some Instagram creep. I figured if I stopped reading his messages, he would get bored and move on like most of them do, but that wasn't the case. A minute later, there was another notification. My sleepiness was already spoiled by how irritated I was, so I checked it out with the intentions of blocking him. But what I saw made me realize that I was getting dragged into something far more serious than I had anticipated. He sent a candid picture of me at school. A chill ran
He's a creepy pedophile.
down my spine. In the picture, I was in the outfit I was wearing earlier that day, but I had no idea I was being photographed by anybody but myself and my friends. He sent it with a caption that read, "Do you like this candid shot I got of you today?" All of a sudden, this situation with seemingly just a harmless weirdo turned into something far more terrifying. I didn't know what to do, so I sent him a harsh text cussing him out.
Who the hell are you?
Do you like the candid shot? Oh, that's what he just said, didn't it? Who the hell are you? Leave me the fuck alone, alright? Or I'll send this to the cops.
Leave me the f alone or I'll send this to the cops.
Then his
What are you going to be sending to cops? I mean, the screenshots and all that, yeah, but... yeah, alright.
As soon as I sent the message, I blocked the account so he didn't have time to respond. I threw down my phone for the last time and tried to finally get some sleep. But I was so horrified thinking that I now had a stalker on my hands. I had no idea who he was or how long it had been going on. Yet, somehow, I managed to put myself in enough denial about the whole thing and fell asleep. In the morning, however, I remembered everything. I told my mom about the whole ordeal before I left the house, and I could tell she was concerned for me, but also just as clueless as I was. I talked to my friends about it at school, but none of them have ever dealt with anything like this before either. Thankfully, when I got home, my mom had this idea of setting up a couple of home security cameras around the house. Neither of us knew what this creep was capable of, so she figured we'd have the extra measure of safety to help me feel safer. We made sure to put one of the cameras in my bedroom just
Oh, alright. I'm sorry, but that's just invading your privacy. Unless you've accepted that you want to have a camera in your room, you can. That's fine, yeah. But if your mum's put it in without telling you, then where's the dad in all this? Oh, unless she ain't got a father. Oh, I'm sorry.
Before I went to bed for the night, I laid down and put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I was strangely feeling comfortable, like maybe nothing was that wrong after all. But just a few minutes after I turned off my lights, I heard my bedroom door creak open. I opened my eyes, and that's when I saw the man in his underwear.
What the fuck? How's he got in? What?
Standing in my doorway, I started
How would you know it's the man? I mean, obviously, like I said, the bulge in his pants, but how would you know it was that man that were messaging you?
screaming from the top of my lungs, and that's when the man suddenly lunged towards me. I began to kick and scream simultaneously, just to get the creep away from me. Thankfully, the sounds I was making were enough to make him turn around and run out of the house. My mom came storming into my room to my aid. We stayed in the bedroom with a chair leaning against the doorknob, and immediately called the police. Somewhat unsurprisingly, the man didn't run very far. They caught him lurking in the neighbor's yard just a few doors down. We handed over the security footage to the police and told them everything we knew. And after a few days of investigating, we got the story they were able to put together.
Bro, he's been going after everyone. He's been going after Jacqueline, Jared, who else? You got Deontay, you got Chris, who you got Mitzi, you got Christopher, you got Brittany. Bro.
The man who snuck into my room was the same one who had been stalking me at school. He had developed an obsession over me and started taking pictures of me on campus, and then eventually started following me home. But the part that terrifies me the most was how he was never a construction worker.
Oh! And how did I say it looked like a bed? Looked like a bed thing. Bro, he's been going under your bed and taking pictures of your bed.
Confusing pictures of wooden planks were just photos he took underneath my bed while I was sleeping in it. He had been sneaking into my house and hiding under my bed for weeks. All I know is that I'll always be on guard whenever a stranger sends me a DM or adds me on Instagram. I'm always paranoid if it's that guy again.
This story was inspired by a true story. So this guy is a plastic surgery horror story 3. I'm obviously not going to be watching an hour of this because I don't want you to watch it.
Back in my 20s, I used to think very highly of myself. I was a young, slim brunette and would always think I was the main attraction in every room I stepped in. At the time, I lived on the 12th floor of an apartment complex. I can recall always seeing people like my neighbors and other patrons around the building checking me out. I was always being catcalled, but did no more than give them a courteous nod. It took some getting used to, until one night, I got inside and began to situate myself. Then I sat in front of my vanity and started to do my usual skincare routine.
You are beautiful, no matter what they say, 'cause words can't bring me
I
down.
know the car.
No! How dare you say someone will eventually take your place? That'll never happen, you hear me?
The next day was like every other day. I would
I didn't fucking say anything.
always run errands and have random pedestrians look at me wherever I went. This varied from single men to taken men to even married men. However, I had this nagging feeling of dissatisfaction as I wasn't turning as much heads as I would have liked to. When I arrived home, I immediately glanced at the mirror, angered at my disheveled appearance. Then, as I approached closer to my reflection, I felt as if the answer was right in front of me. I wasn't going to stay young forever, and I was afraid to lose all the beauty I possessed.
No! No! This can't be happening to me!
Then, as I scrutinized my face in the mirror, I noticed some wrinkles forming and my face slightly sagging. I panicked, my hands trembling in apprehension. I then grabbed my brush and started frantically combing my hair. As I said,
I gotta do it. I must do it. I will do it.
Then, without a hinge of reluctance, I decided to undergo plastic surgery. The next day, I began seeking consultation from medical pundits, but unfortunately, they all told me the same.
Yeah, but you'd like a bit of wrinkle on you. Well, it depends how old you are. 20 to 30, you're gonna at least gain a bit of wrinkles. But if you ain't got no wrinkles at all, that's it. It's pretty disturbing because if someone, I'm trying to think of something here. I'm just gonna have to explain how I'm thinking in my mind. Some random man could just come up to you with, like, you've got no wrinkles, and he's thinking, what, you're like 22 or something like that. He don't know that, and he's probably, and what if you're like 14 or something, bro? Wrinkles, bro.
Thing that I didn't need it, and that overdoing it could increase my health risk, resulting in irreversible damage. However, no matter what they say, I constantly refused, hollering,
I didn't come here to get rejected. I'm willing to pay you any amount. Just give me what I want.
Miss Hannah, it's not just about the money. If we proceed, you might—
I don't care. Just get it done.
I slammed my fist on the table, frightening the doctors. So, unable to persuade me, we inevitably went through with the operation, and after grueling hours—
Who's this cheeky bitch being like that to? Don't be giving my doctor attitude.
of sedation, lying flat on the operation table, I finally woke up, my head wrapped in bandages. Upon arriving home, I noticed the watchful eyes of my neighbors, who were probably curious about what had happened to me. Little did they know that, enclosed in this cocoon, was the most beautiful butterfly just waiting to reveal it.
Cocoon. Bro, those eyes are scaring the shit out of me.
Itself. So, as I waited for my face to heal, I was filled with anticipation, visualizing myself stepping on the false representation of beauty that I saw in other women.
Just wait and see. After this, I'll be the hottest girl around town.
Then, when it eventually came time for the big reveal, I stripped away the bandages like a fascinating creature coming out of its shell, and went out into the street.
Yeah. Bro, you look like an alien. I'm sorry, love.
To display the final stage of my metamorphosis. So, as I entered the grocery store, I earned a couple of stares and compliments, and as expected, some of the guys approached me, asking if I was single or if they could get my number. Needless to say, it was flattering. However, as I went home, I was flustered, feeling my temperature rise again. I still wasn't satisfied with the public's perception of me. I felt as if I wasn't turning enough heads as I would have anticipated, despite my best efforts. Without looking into the mirror, I knew my face was turning red because I could feel the blood coursing through my veins, boiling with agitation. So, releasing my pent-up frustration, I said,
No, this can't be happening!
My body quivered as I told myself,
It's not enough. I need more!
My yearning for perfection had driven me to undergo more plastic surgeries. Despite the doctor's constant opposition, eventually, I had more work done until I underwent 20 various procedures. At some point—
20? 20... Wait, what? What were it again? 20 surgeries? What the fuck? Oh, that's just mental.
The doctors refused to take me in as their patient, wary of the damage I might cause to their reputation should future operations fail. I loathe such people, successful yet self-centered pricks who always thought they could boss me around. But no, it's unacceptable. I went on a rampage, and eventually I was escorted out of the hospital and banned from ever returning. So when I arrived home, I sat on the front of my vanity and began to cry. But as tears poured down my face, I laughed like a lunatic, infuriated by the doctors who had the audacity to refuse me. I paced myself apprehensively as I thought of what to do next. At that moment, I was drowning in anxiety, visualizing myself as an invisible woman that people would bump into without ever noticing me. So, without a doubt, I searched the black market, bought what I needed, put my latex gloves on, and did the deed. The following day, I was getting ready to step outside of the house to display
The fuck? Is this... What's this? Is this red?
a kind of beauty that was unparalleled. That was until
What's that on here? Oh, it must be...
someone knocked on my door. Upon opening it, I noticed it was the neighbor from down the hallway. However, instead of coming closer, he had this horrific look on his face, as if he had seen a ghost. Offended, I asked,
Why are you looking at me like that?
Stupid neighbor. I can't stand beta men like him.
Look at you. Bro, you look like E.T.
You are beautiful.
Yeah, I'm beautiful. You're fucking not.
No matter what they say, 'cause words can't bring me down.
You know what will be bringing you down? The size of your head. Looks like a bloody Walker's Chris.
This story was inspired by a 28-year-old woman who was a successful model and singer. Before her descent into plastic surgery addiction, there were multiple doctors that refused to work on her anymore. Before she took matters into her own hands, she then returned to Korea. Her parents could not recognize her. She has since received psychiatric help.
Ronald McDonald. The following stories were inspired by or loosely based on the actual events or localized, or persons living or dead. Alright.
The next story may sound fabricated, but it is quote-unquote allegedly true, and has circulated the internet if you do a little digging. It was an urban legend that occurred around 2004/2005 in the city of Cuernavaca in Morelos, Mexico. The following animation portrays a dramatized version of the alleged event. All parties will be given aliases to protect the identities of all involved.
The statue of urban legend.
There was a story so implausible that I would shake my head and roll my eyes whenever I heard my colleagues talking about it. However, all of this changed when someone in my family experienced the same thing, prodding me to withdraw every ounce of doubt. 3 years ago, my brother and his pal had just left a drinking party at a nightclub. They were so wasted it was difficult to even...
What's his name now? It's Summit Dynamite. Oh, what's his name now? Bro, I only know his name's Dynamite or something like that.
book a cab home. So as they tread across the long paved roads, struggling to avoid passing cars, they saw what appeared to be a brightly lit domicile in the distance. As they approached the light source, they realized that it wasn't a house, but a McDonald's fast food restaurant. They glanced through the glass windows and feasted their eyes on the menu displayed on the counter, delighted to see very few customers. After all, it was past midnight, and not so many people were expected to be out at this hour. Famished after a long walk, they decided to order some Big Macs and flump on a bench outside the restaurant where a statue of Ronald McDonald was sitting comfortably at the edge. Staring at the statue, they noticed its smile seemingly jolly, and its eyes eerily gazing back at them. causing them to feel reluctant before they eventually looked at each other and laughed at the childish thought, brushing it aside. A lit night, Pedro. I'll never forget it, my brother said as he took an enormous bite.
Dude, you see that thing was giving me a bubble? She was bad, wasn't she? I might have to take her to McDonald's for a first date.
Pedro winked while patting him on the back.
Well, I'm sorry, dude. I can't hold it anymore.
The sour taste in my brother's mouth made him retch, and so, unable to contain it, he headed to the trash bin where he threw up for the next couple of minutes, leaving his friend all alone with the statue on the bench. Having lost the strength and interest to finish his burger, Pedro thought of taking a nap on the Ronald McDonald statue's lap, and as he began to shut his eyes, he grumbled and said,
Oh, my headaches have gotten worse. I wish I could just die.
Then, a creepy voice replied,
Be careful what you wish for.
Ah! Pedro jumped, wondering for a moment where the voice might have emanated from. However, as he listened to cars honking and tree branches falling, he was convinced it was all in his head.
See, Pedro? This is what happens when you get drunk,
he told himself as he resumed his nap. Then, amidst the silence, Pedro sighed and said,
I'm so tired.
Moments later, the same voice from before spoke to him and replied,
That makes the two of us.
Before Pedro had any chance to react, the statue grabbed his head with both hands, tightening its vice grip as Pedro wailed in agony.
Somebody help me!
Even as he begged the clown to stop, it showed no remorse and continued to apply immense pressure on his skull until his entire head was squished to smithereens. When my brother finally returned to his friend, he dropped his burger in utter terror. Then, as he saw Pedro's eyeballs roll across the floor, he screamed. He instantly woke from his semi-stupor, banging on the door of the McDonald's.
Somebody help me! Please, let me in!
However, to my brother's horror, McDonald's had already closed, and no one else was there.
Closed? I don't even know when this is from, because I thought McDonald's are open like 24/7 or something like that.
So, as he glanced at the bench behind him, the statue was now standing erect with a menacing gaze, showing off its razor-sharp teeth. In a split second, my brother made a run for it into the woods. Although he considered this nothing but mere imagination, the sound of his footsteps quickly catching up to him were all too real. What the hell is going on? Moments later, the evil clown grabbed his arm as he tried to break free. That's when the clown rips my brother's arm off, leaving him on the ground as he wailed in sheer agony. Then, the clown growled as it delighted itself in a sumptuous meal.
I'm loving it! I'm loving it! I'm loving it!
With his adrenaline rushing, my brother got to his feet, heedless of the immense pain. Then, he ran away from the woods until he eventually arrived home. As he locked the door behind him, he ran to the living room and dialed 911.
They were brothers. How old? Well, I mean, they're alright. They're old enough to be drinking, so they'll be like 21 or something over in America. I don't think they'd have a mum or something, I'm gonna say. Bro, how are you typing with one arm? And this seems like that YouTube channel, Raka Raka. They used to like make Ronald McDonald like things and all that.
His remaining arm. His hand was uncontrollably shaking as he waited for an officer to pick up the call. When he was finally able to speak to someone, my brother said, wincing at the pain of his severed arm.
Please send the cops! I know this is hard to believe, but Ronald McDonald is after me, and he's about to kill me!
Okay, sir, I'm sorry, but you need to slow down and say it more clearly this time. Do you understand?
But I don't have time! Like I said, Ronald McDonald is on his way to kill me!
You mean the clown, sir?
The officer asked with a hint of sarcasm and irritation.
Yes, ma'am! Please hurry!
Sir?
Then, suddenly, the cop's voice turned from annoyance to delight.
You just made my day. To be honest, I was told there was going to be some kind of initiation, since this is my first week in the office. So I'm partly sorry for ruining the surprise, but it's a good one, sir. You got me.
No, this isn't a prank, lady! Send someone fast, please, I'm begging you!
Well played, sir. Well played.
My brother panicked. The officer then hung up on him.
Well, why would you, bro, ask for paramedic, and then if paramedics see you, they'd obviously call police, won't they? Fucking hell.
Moments later, my brother heard a loud thud on the door, followed by constant banging.
Come on, you're no fun! Let me in!
The clown said in a demonic voice.
We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Choose wisely!
As the clown pounded louder, my brother only felt more anxious.
Leave me alone or I will call the cops! The cops already hung up on you, dipshit! Now open the door! If you don't open up this very second, I'm gonna release all my Big Mac sauce on your front door!
Finally, my brother decided to grab a knife from the kitchen and face his pursuer head on.
If the cops don't do anything, I will.
He told himself, mustering every ounce of courage he had in his body. My brother looked through the peephole as he listened to the clown's incessant laughter. However, strangely enough, he was nowhere to be seen. Despite my brother's reluctance, he opened the door, ready to strike the clown at will. But out of nowhere, the clown quickly wrapped its large hands around my brother's head, squeezing the life out of him.
Ah! Let go of me, you prick!
That's when my brother began to gouge at Ronald's eyes with his remaining hand while being suspended in midair. By some miracle, he managed to dig his fingers deep inside the crevices of the clown's eye sockets and rip his eyeballs out. That's when the clown released my brother from its tight grasp.
Ah! I'm not loving it!
My brother sprinted while weeping convulsively as he flagged down a moving vehicle to bring him to the nearest hospital. When I heard about my brother's story, my parents and I wanted to report this to the police. The security cameras outside the restaurant recorded the incident. However, McDonald's paid off all the damage expenses, including my family's debts.
Paid off all the expenses, bro. What? Oh, you just let some random man kill people. You don't need money, you need literally family therapy for that. Oh, I thought I played it, sorry. Bro.
Law enforcement and all parties involved, coercing us to keep the security tapes confidential. But rumor has it the word got out to the public, which caused multiple McDonald's franchises throughout the country to replace their Ronald McDonald benches with ordinary benches. Since then, my brother has been in a coma, almost irresponsive.
Which brother? Because one brother's just got his head popped, squeezed, made his eyeball flip out, and you've just lost your arm. Yeah, you lost your arm.
My entire family avoids all McDonald's restaurants, wary of a clown sitting on a bench.
True Omegle horror story #1. This is going to be the last one I'm going to be doing today. The following stories were inspired by... Oh, this is the same. Oh, so it's a new one. Oh, no. I have not seen the video of the woman.
I was always told that college would be this super foundational time where you have fun and form critical memories. But 5 years on it from now, at 27 years old, there's only one memory that sticks out. And unfortunately, it doesn't have anything to do with girls or going out and partying, but instead, something that happened on Omegle. I've always been a loner and a geek my whole life. I didn't successfully come out of my shell in college, although I wanted to. That's why I moved into the dorm rooms near my campus in the first place. I figured it'd be a great way to meet people and socialize.
I don't think that's a dorm room, that looks like a bloody prison.
But I ended up getting straddled with huge room and board expenses on top of my tuition debt. I never managed to make any friends in my hall. That's how I caved in and fell back on being a parasocial weirdo through the gateway of the internet. Through Omegle more specifically. It's a website that pairs you up with random strangers so you can text or video chat. That's where I spent most of my time trying to meet people in the online world. But in a lot of ways, it was more of the same of what I got in the real world. Most people skip me almost immediately. A lot of the people that I managed to have conversations with were older men, who seemed insightful at first, but then turned out to be weird and creepy. Then, of course, there was the classic Omegle horde of people without a webcam trying to bait me to give out my ASL. But every once in a while, there
SL, what's that? SL, what's that?
was a good conversation to be had with someone who wasn't trying to seduce me. I held out hope to get paired with people like them through dealing with all the BS. One night, after I finished studying, I turned off the lights in my room so people wouldn't see it behind me. Then I hopped onto Omegle to look for a decent person to talk to. That night, more than all the others, went off to an insane start. The very first stranger I encountered was instantly showing me their bare feet. I could tell it was a man's by the hairy legs and toes, too. They were standing on top of their desk with their camera pointed straight at their ingrown toenails. I was frozen by the sight of it. I had no idea what to say to something like that, so I didn't say anything.
Well, obviously skip it then. Fuck me. Idiots.
I didn't skip, though. I was hoping it would go somewhere entertaining. And I was more than used to seeing exposed ugly people, since that sort of thing was oddly common to see on Omegle. After a long, awkward silence, I tried to open the conversation. Hi.
Well, hi there.
Nice feet.
Thanks, I've been told.
Can I see your face, sir?
Only if you let me show you my special talent.
You have a special talent? Sure, man, bring it on.
Splendid. Stay right there. Don't you dare click skip. You got that?
Okay. A split second later, the stranger put a watermelon-sized glass jar down the desk between his legs and shouted like he was pretending to be a magician or something. He then said,
I call this act One Man, One Jar. Are you ready to see my contortionism demonstration?
Sure.
I said, are you ready to see my contortionism demonstration? Yeah, man, do it. All right, brace yourself.
The man then put both his feet in the jar. Then, he crouched down and stuffed in his legs. I watched in awe as he squeezed his entire body into it, until it was completely inside the jar. His face was visible, but was completely smushed up against the glass, and I could finally see his face. He looked to be some balding middle-aged guy living in a drafty old apartment. Then, with his one free arm, he reached over and grabbed a lid and somehow managed to put it on top of himself, closing the jar with his entire body sealed inside. I couldn't tell.
I've heard other rumours about One Man, One Jar, but I don't think this is the One Man, One Jar, is it? The fuck?
If the pressure was
So it's just some guy squeezing into a jar. Is that it?
distorting his face or if he was just crazy. But he smiled at me very disturbingly, like he was waiting for me to applaud. I didn't have any words. I couldn't comprehend how a grown man had fit himself into something so small.
Well, what do you think?
That's very cool, but can you get out?
Can I get out? Of course I can get out. Watch.
That's when he tried to push the lid off. But as soon as I saw it not move, the man's smile started to slowly vanish from his face. I knew something was wrong. He kept trying to push himself up to get the lid off his back, but he wasn't able to budge it. He was too tightly packed in there to maneuver, and he couldn't get any leverage from the position he was in. All of a sudden, panic was written all over him. His face turned red and puffy, and he frantically tried to move whatever he could, but all of it barely amounted to anything more than rattling his cage. Quickly, it started to seem as though he was having trouble breathing, too.
Help me! I can't move, I'm stuck! Oh god, I'm stuck!
Help you? Bro, how the fuck am I meant to help you? I don't know who you are, I don't know where you live, and I don't know... So yeah, I don't know what you could do if I come over.
I don't know what to do! Get me out of here, please! But I don't know where you are! Tell me where you are and I'll call the cops!
After the reality had set in that he was completely stuck, the panic had turned into utter despair. He was sobbing incoherently, completely incapable of forming words. Tears and snot and drool streaming from his face and down inside the wall of the jar.
What is your location? Tell me! I'm in my apartment. Please come find me. Please. Come find me. What's your address? Please, that's all I need to know and you'll be okay. Damn it, man, focus. No.
It only took me a second to realize what I had done. I became so panicked and frustrated that I accidentally pressed the skip button when I banged my fist on the table, causing me and the stranger to be disconnected forever. I'll never be able to properly describe that sinking feeling I felt in that moment, knowing I had just doomed that man to his unusual fate of slowly suffocating, trapped, alone, unable to move. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. I didn't think
It's not your fault, mate, it's his fault. Why the fuck? That's not even a good talent, bro.
there was anything I could do. If I called the police, they wouldn't be able to find him since I never heard his address. I didn't record any of it, and there's no way of knowing where somebody is from Omegle. Without a better idea, I swore to never go back on there. I tried to forget that I was ever on Omegle in the first place. I actually got drunk for the first time that night, in hopes that I could go to bed and sleep without much trouble. But God knows, even after all these years, there's nothing that will get the image of that trapped man in a jar out of my head. It's been haunting me for so long. Every day I wonder what happened to him, if anybody ever came to rescue him.
or if those moments he spent with me over the internet were his last moments with anyone. These days, I remember one man, one jar as a friend.
Right. That is going to be me done. I hope you've liked it. I'm going to have to watch this back because I've never like used OBS. So thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button and the like button, and I'll be posting more of these eventually. So thank you, and with that, I'll see you later. Goodbye.